And coming back here to Chicago in our area, in our state, let me say that. We had a bill that passed in the Illinois Senate on Thursday. It's now on the governor's desk, and Republicans, especially downstate, not happy at all about this. It's the Energy Omnibus Bill. I want to bring in State Senator Jason Plummer to talk more about it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so you say this is going to drive up costs and weaken the reliability of the state's energy grid. Explain that to me.
Well, actually, 3 or 4 years ago, we had one of the lowest costs, most reliable energy grids in the Midwest, if not the whole country. And when CJ came around, major energy legislation 3 or 4 years ago, we warned what we're experiencing now would happen. And so it's not a warning anymore, it's reality. Illinoisans across the state are seeing their energy bills going up 2 and 3 times what they were just a few years ago. And we think that that's only going to continue. The legislation that we discussed during veto session was supposed to be a fix, but unfortunately that's just making the problem even worse. I mean, their idea of a fix in Springfield is an $8 billion increase in rates on Illinois families. And obviously that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, you talk about this factoring into an affordability crisis. I'd like to delve deeper into that, especially when you say it's going to continue to escalate.
Yeah, it's going to continue to escalate. This isn't a fix. This is a Band-Aid. They're trying to solve a problem of their own making. And it's just part of an affordability crisis facing Illinois families and Illinois businesses. It's not just energy, right? I mean, if you look at the things the private sector delivers in Illinois, they do a pretty decent job at it. Then Springfield gets involved and we kind of wreck things. So, we're 37th in sales tax. We're 48th when it comes to corporate tax. We're 49th in gas tax. We're 50th in property taxes. Now our energy bills are going through the roof. In veto session, we had a homeowners insurance legislation that is stalled right now, but they're going to bring that back in January. It's going to drive up the cost of homeowners insurance. And Illinois families just can't take it anymore. Illinois businesses can't take it anymore. We're one of the most expensive states to live in. And if you look at our resources and our assets in this state, we should be a low-cost state and we should be a high-growth state. And unfortunately, we're expensive and low growth.
So when you look at it and you pinpoint things that you disagree with, and you're in the veto session, what were some of the alternatives that Republicans brought to the table?
Well, Republicans bring a lot of things to the table. It's just a matter if the Democrat supermajority under J.B. Pritzker is willing to give our legislation a hearing. We've introduced tremendous number of bills on property taxes, on energy, on a lot of other things that are driving this affordability crisis in Illinois. Unfortunately, the supermajority party won't listen to our legislation. We don't get committee hearings for our legislation, and so we're stuck dealing with stuff that we saw during veto session. It's very, very difficult in a state that's presently ruled by pretty progressive politics and one party to have diversity of opinion and diversity of thoughts. And that lack of transparency and that lack of discourse in a state that is demographically diverse, geographically diverse, economically diverse is really harmful to the families of the state. And hence, we see our neighbors with much lower costs and we see our neighbors growing and Illinois shrinking in population and our costs keep going up. And that's because we have a supermajority rule under a progressive governor that's just not willing to listen to other ideas.
Yeah, sure. I can sense that that level of frustration, especially. I want to come back around to the bill, but because you mentioned the supermajority, do you think that any state that has a supermajority, i.e., we just saw redistricting in Texas, do you agree with how they handled the supermajority there?
Well, if you're speaking specifically to redistricting, I was on the redistricting committee here in Illinois. I was one of 2 Republican state senators on that committee, and the way we handled that 4 or 5 years ago was terrible. I firmly believe that there should be a fair map process in Illinois. I think there should be a fair map process in every state. I don't think that, I think a 2-party system is healthy. I think having discourse, having conversation, making sure all voices have a say is healthy for democracy. I think having 2 names on the ballot is healthy for democracy. And the direction Illinois is going right now is 1-party rule. Out of 59 state Senate seats, states, very few of them are competitive, and that's because of the redistricting process. So are there states that do redistricting right? Yes, look at Iowa. Are there states that do redistricting wrong on both sides of the aisle? Absolutely. But I'm focused on Illinois. I would point to, though, the thing we're talking about here with affordability and opportunity for families and businesses is there's a lot of one-party states. I would highlight Indiana. I would highlight Missouri. I would highlight Florida as states that are doing a lot of great things, and the people that live there are benefiting from them, whereas families in Illinois only continue to struggle.
Okay, so I want to, again, end on the bill because that's what brought you here. And again, it's on the governor's desk. What is your message to him as he considers what to do next?
Well, I think the governor needs to look at the history here. The history was 3 or 4 years ago, there was far left policy that decimated the lowest cost, most reliable, best energy grid in the Midwest that Illinois families and businesses benefited from. The same people that broke our grid and is causing this misery for Illinois families are the same people that claim this is going to fix it. And it is an $8 billion rate increase on Illinois families that can't afford an $8 billion rate increase. If the governor wants to fix the grid and wants to provide relief for Illinois families for the long term, he needs to listen to all voices that are in this conversation, and we need common sense energy reform that will bring a low cost, reliable grid back. And that won't just provide relief for Illinois families, that will help us attract jobs and businesses that the governor is presently chasing out of Illinois.
Well, thank you for lending your voice to the show today. I really appreciate it. State Senator Jason Plummer.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.